Hi guys, you're welcome. Today I'll be showing you how to draft this beautiful corset dress. To draft the corset dress, I'll be using the following: pattern drafting paper, triangle, ruler, scissors, measuring tape, eraser, pencil, marker pens. I'll start by creating a rectangle using a quarter of the bust circumference as the width of the rectangle and the length from the shoulder to waist as the length of the rectangle. To know the length of your waist, measure from your shoulders to your navel. The average waist distance from shoulder to navel for a mature adult is 46 to 50 centimeters. I'll now place my vertical measurements, which is the bust point and the under bust point. The bust point I'm working with is 25 centimeters and the under bust point is 34 centimeters. The next thing to do is to place the basic neck measurement, which is 8 centimeters by 9 centimeters for the front neck and 2 centimeters by 8 centimeters for the back neck. Now I'll gradually curve the neck curves for the front part of the neck and the back part of the neck respectively. From this top left angle of the shoulder line, I'll go down by 4 centimeters and I'll connect that point back to the neck, thus giving me a diagonal line. Now from the 4 centimeter point, go down by 18 centimeters as the armhole length. Now from the bust point, go up by 8 centimeters and place the front chest measurement. The front chest measurements I'm working with is 34 and 34 divided by 2 is 17. On this diagonal line, place the shoulder measurements, which is 12 centimeters, and connect the points. By the time you're done, you have the armhole curve. Next is to place the bust span measurement, and the bust span I'm working with is 20 centimeters divided by 2, which is 10 centimeters. The bust span measurement is also called the nipple to nipple measurement. To start creating the bust cup, I will go up by 1 centimeters from the under bust line. When you're done, measure the distance from there to the bust point. The distance I have with me here is 8 centimeters, so I'll be placing it from this top edge of the dot line on the bust point, and I'll be placing it round that point until I achieve a circle. You can use a compass if you can, but for me, the compass I have here is weak, so I prefer to use my tape. On the bust point at the end of the circle towards the armhole, go out by 2 centimeters and go up by 4 centimeters. This is to shift the breast cup towards the side because our breast is always fuller at the side. When you're done, connect from this point right up to the 4 centimeters point that you extended upwards. From the bust point at the center front, go up by 4 centimeters and go in by 2 centimeters. Then connect this point right down to the 1 centimeters point you quoted when you went up from the under bust point. I'm doing this with a pen, but I'll print it later with a marker pen so that you can see it boldly. Guys, if you can lay hands on a French curve, it will be very easy to connect these points. I'll be extending this dot line upwards towards the edge of the circle. Next is to draw a curve from this point to meet the dot line at the edge of the circle. Guys, as you can see, the shape of the bust cup is already out. So now, on both sides of the top edge of the cup, I'll go out by 2 centimeters each, and I'll do same on the lower part of the cup. Next is to connect the points to meet at the dart line on the bust point. On both sides of the dart line at the waistline, I'll go out by 2 centimeters each, and I'll connect the points back to the second line after the under bust to form the darts. I'll now place the waist measurement. The waist measurement I'm working with is 22 centimeters plus 4 centimeters as the value of the dart, which gives me 26 centimeters. So I'll connect that 26 centimeters point back to the armhole. I don't need to place the bust circumference again because the width of this rectangle is equal to a quarter of the bust circumference, so it's just okay. Next thing to do now is to place the back neckline, and I just need it to be a bit slanted like this. Remember, I do my front and back patterns on the same pattern piece. Remember that this bust cup is only for the front part of the dress, so I'm differentiating the front from the back with this blue pen. To create the half cut, I'll go up by 4 centimeters from the waistline because I don't want the half cut to lie just at the waist. I want it to be at least 4 centimeters higher from the waistline. In order to stop the zipper from folding in when placed, I'll go in by 2 centimeters from the center back line, and I'll connect this point right up to the back neckline. This creates a good space for the zipper to fit nicely because our backs are not that straight. When I'm done centralizing the back, I'll now cut out the pattern. Now with the pattern placed on another pattern paper, I'll create the back neckline, which is a vertical line like this, and I'll transfer the back pattern onto this pattern paper. This I'm doing using a tracing wheel. A tracing wheel is readily available in any fashion store. So I got mine at 200 francs CFA, so you can just check it out at any fashion store. The tracing wheel transfer patterns onto new pattern papers by creating holes according to the structure of the pattern, which you can follow those tiny holes and mark them out with a marker pen. Now I'm creating new darts for the back part of the dress. So after placing the bust span, I connected it from the half cut right up to the bust point, and then from the bust point I came down by 3 centimeters, and then at the dart line on the half curve I went out by 1 centimeters each. So I didn't go out by 1.5 centimeters because the half cut is shorter than the length of the full waist. After that, I went further and marked out the back neckline, which is the diagonal line above the bust line. Next is to cut out the back pattern and separate the yoke from the rest of the pattern. I want the front yoke to have a V neckline but then a crisscross, so I'll place my ruler diagonally like this and draw. Now I'll cut out the remaining patterns before coming back to the front yoke. So this is the center piece, this is the side piece, and this is for the breast cup. Now to have the crisscross I need in front of the yoke, I have to place the front yoke on the folded pattern paper and then wheel it onto the folded pattern paper using the tracing wheel. After that, I traced it out with a marker pen, and I have the front yokes for the both sides of the body. Now I'll determine the width of my crisscross by drawing a diagonal line that crosses to this other side of the yoke. I'm marking a series of X to indicate my cutting plan. Now after cutting, I'll draw a series of vertical lines on the yoke and I'll cut through them so I can have some gathers. This will also be repeated on the back yoke. The last pattern we'll be drafting is how to draft the sleeve of this dress. I'll have to measure the armhole value of the body's pattern because I'll need it to draw a diagonal line between two horizontal lines. The distance between these two horizontal lines is equal to the armhole length minus 4. The armhole length I worked with was 18 centimeters minus 4, that gives me 14 centimeters. The length of this diagonal line is 26 centimeters. I'll divide this diagonal line into 2 and into 2 again. From this first point, I'll go out by 1.5 centimeters, and on the third point, I'll go out by 2 centimeters. And then I'll connect the points at the end. This will create a curve. Now, I'll measure the length of the sleeve, and after that, I'll place the various measurements like the wrist circumference divided by 2 and the arm circumference divided by 2. When I'm done placing the measurements, I'll now connect using my free hand because the hand is not that straight. At the hem of the sleeve, I'll indicate the band and then I'll mark it out by doing these drawings on it.